Welcome to the Our Raw Material Arena. I am Tavish Cardiff here with some guidance for this week's pillar. It is Music Week and it is one of my favorite weeks. This session I am getting a little personal, so talking about my experience with the music pillar. This is probably the one that I was aware of more than any other growing up. I have always had a connection to music. The song Steppenwolf, Magic Carpet Ride, it was my bedtime song, and I would zoom around everywhere on a magic carpet. This t-shirt, Peace, Love, and Anarchy, this is an old Todd Snider shirt. And Todd and I have musical roots that go back to his beginnings in 1994, but even further because we have some of the same musical heroes. We have some of the same people that we both grew up listening to and learning about, and Todd has actually gotten to meet a lot of those people. I have gotten to meet Todd, and let me just say, it's great to meet the people that you admire. And I think anyone you admire would also tell you it's never a good idea to meet the people that you admire, because at some level they become human and they're not as cool as they were. Now, Todd is obviously the coolest. And I feel like in a lot of ways, Todd and I have grown up together. He has experienced some of the things physically that I only experienced mentally. And because of that, we have been effective partners in life. He doesn't really know that, but he has been my partner in so many things. And I will even tie it to, I think it's his fourth album, Happy to Be Here. I came home with the CD and I put it in my Sony 5 CD changer, and I had this balance board. You stand on it and you stay balanced. And I got balanced to the first song. My business partner at the time, Camille, was on the computer, like over in the corner, and I'm on the balance board, and I stayed balanced for the entire album. And I listened to every single song, and I took in the lyrics. And I always have done that with music. Once I've heard it a while, but I think that's the first time that I ever sat with an album brand new and took in every single word like that. And I've done that a few times since, but it's kind of a fun memory to go back to. What's the point of me telling this story is really that I can trace my own musical appreciation, love, roots back to the same kinds of things that my contemporary musical idol, Todd Snider, has done with music himself. And he's been with me since I was in my early 20s. There have been several bands since then who have captured my attention, who I follow and who I've enjoyed their music and go see shows and things like that. Tons of music. But Todd really captures the same vein that I do and comes from the same mindset, the same cloth. He's a Libra like I am. He's born 10/10 and I'm 10/13, and we're a couple years apart. So I think that contributes a little bit. His storytelling and the way that he operates reminds me of a very good friend of mine, Crazy John Brooks. So there's just so much familiarity with Todd from my end, even though he couldn't pick me out of a crowd. So I've done a lot of work in the roots on Todd's behalf. I have dragged several people to his shows, including the very first show he did in Kansas City at the Hurricane. I dragged most of the audience. Otherwise, he would not have had an audience. And he opened with Playing in a Traveling Band, Credence. And I remember my dad had been tired, but as soon as Todd lit the stage up with that song, he was fully engaged, and my dad, my family, became Todd Snider fans as well. So we all kind of adopted Todd Snider music, and when we adopt the lyrics of someone that we love who's kind of a poet, they become part of us. They become part of our story, and their story becomes part of our story. So whether we actually know a person or not, if we invest in something about them or their creativity, we then pull those roots into our own being. So for me, so many of Todd Snider's ideas and concepts and the general philosophy that I've operated with in my adult life is based on things that I learned from Todd Snider. He would laugh, I'm sure, if he heard that. And I get that. But at the same time, there's an ideal philosophy that comes out of the things that he's said that have come from the voices of the people that he and I both enjoyed separately together. And so Music Week is really about drawing all of those notes together, all of those different ways that we connect to different artists. And I probably should string a list of artists here that we do have in common just so that you get a general sense. But I would bet that we have about a 50% crossover in our musical tastes. And I think that's a lot to have with another person. For as much music as there is out there, to have, just a high level of crossover in what you listen to. And one more thing I'd like to say about Todd Snider before I move on to something else is that quietly, very much like Taylor Swift, Todd Snider has been re-releasing his own music, commenting on it, re-recording it, and making it free. So as I celebrate Todd's connection to the soul of music within my own soul of music, here's the challenge for the week. Check in on your own roots musically. What are the first things that you were introduced to? What did your parents listen to? Or aunts, uncles, neighbors, friends, whoever first exposed you to music? What type of music was it? Did you connect to it? Did you not? What is the first music that you actually connected to? And if you don't connect to music, take a look at why. What are the reasons why music might not have found its way into your life? And if it has, figure out ways to celebrate exactly how and why that is, and all of the ways that music twists and turns through our spirit, making us happy to be here. I will be back next week to talk about food, our mental state, how our thought patterns get shaped. Have a great week.